Hello and welcome to another edition of Rising Coaches DEI-Alliance Coaches Spotlight. We are here with the Latino Association of Basketball Coaches. I'm your host, Lucas Ramirez, and today we are joined by Coach Jorge Sanz, the Director of Basketball Operations at Gonzaga University. Coach, how are you?
I am well, thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. Coach, we'll get right into it. Give us kind of the long and short of your coaching journey.
Well, fairly recent, if since you asked, but I mean, it's been almost 15 years now. But I say recent because my coaching career started actually here in the States. I'm originally from Spain, born and raised. And after I realized what would be my college years playing for club in Spain, that I wasn't gonna have a career as a player. That essentially that led into me working in the corporate world for almost 5 years, which made me realize that I missed the game. I missed being around the game. I wasn't very sure, what sort of path to follow within the game or to pursue within the game. But I knew I wanted to be around it. Coaching was not in the books for me then, at least. But me and my now wife, then girlfriend, we actually moved to the States, and that's where I pursued getting my foot in the door and trying to start with coaching. So that took me. It was 2010. And but essentially, we landed at Florida Atlantic University, FAU, as a volunteer. What would be a manager, a 26-year-old manager, but essentially that's what I was, because I was actually studying there as well. So essentially, I became a de facto volunteer video coordinator. They didn't have one, so they gave me a Synergy account. They gave me a sports code. And that's how it started. So I was under Mike Jarvis my first 4 years, which I went a little too fast. After my first year, we won the regular season. We won the conference. We went to the NIT. One of my colleagues got a job elsewhere, so they promoted from within. I'm getting the ops job at FAU, which I held for 3 years. So a total of 4 under Mike Jarvis. Then, as things went, we got fired. It was 2014, and Michael Curry got the head job at FAU, and actually I was retained within the staff. And with him, I did 1 year as video coordinator again, and then I got promoted to assistant coach. So the following 3 years that ensued, I was an assistant coach at FAU as well. Then we got fired again. Essentially, me having been on the road for a little longer and recruiting mostly internationally, that led to opportunity to come to Gonzaga in 2018. So that was 5 seasons ago. And my first year here, I was technically a GA. That I want to, because the Gonzaga thing happened of me trying to figure out what was next. We just got fired, so I didn't know exactly what to do or where to head to. So I was rescued in a very good way. So my first year was as a GA, and then I got hired as Director of Basketball Operations, which has been the last 4 years.
Yeah,
until
awesome.
Now.
So going back to before you decided to get into it, you said you were working in the corporate world. What is there anything that from the corporate world that you could say helped prepare you for the business of coaching? Is there any similarities? What could you take from there?
Yeah, absolutely. The first one is organizational skills. When I was, young in the corporate world, but fresh out of college, but I had a team of 16 people working not for me but with me. So first and foremost, it's organization skills that, especially as ops, has helped me a lot tremendously.
Yeah.
But then, and I think the underlying foundation for any job is the relationships. Not only working with but taking care of people. And that doesn't matter what the field, what doesn't matter what the industry is. That you know, at the end of the day, unless you're coding by yourself and you're just, you know, in front of a laptop, you are going to be you know, dealing with people, and that's the underlying foundation for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. You spent a good amount of time at FAU, 2 different coaching staffs. What was the process like the first time you transitioned from one staff to the next? How long did you have to wait to get retained? Was it pretty quick? Did you have a relationship already with Coach Curry coming in, or was that something that just organically happened once he came in? Or
yeah, it was extremely organic. I mean, one thing that's it's very hard to picture is that when I came to the States, I had no idea about anything in college. Like no conferences, how things were, how seasons were structured at all. I knew a little bit of the game. I played, but I didn't know anything at all about the ins and outs of college basketball itself. So the only thing I knew was how to handle myself, how I would approach my job, and I did see that people around me, not just in the staff, but in my first staff, but also around, you know, other schools and people that I started meeting, like they were constantly worrying about other jobs, constantly worrying about who was getting what, who was going with him. And I could not, it could not be more foreign to me. Because I would only worry about my job. You know people and you talk to people, whatever, but like it would not hit me as if, hey, you have to be prepared for the next job. No, like never. To this day, to a fault, I just don't worry about the next job. So when we got fired, I was absolutely clueless. My only relationships were within the FAU athletic department.
Yeah.
You know, to the point where that's what actually helped me be retained, because Michael, the next staff of Michael Curry and company, they came mostly from the NBA. So they didn't have a staff set up, which they very well could have, and you know, could have been out of FAU right away. But essentially, what happened was that as he was building his staff, I became the liaison between the players, you know, still on the roster, and the staff as was being formed. So essentially, I was the go-to guy, you know, doing the transition. Which, you know, hindsight, that probably helped with you know, transition itself, but also with you know, getting in front of Coach Curry.
Yeah, absolutely. After the run that FAU had this year, was it something that you ever could imagine that could have taken place there? Was it fun to watch from afar? Obviously, you're worried about your guys' stuff going on at Gonzaga, but was it fun just to know people still there down in Boca Raton, to see the success? Like, was it something that you could ever dream of, or is it something that's been pretty impressive to see?
It's been crazy. I could joke that we walked so they could run, but that's not the case. No, that is absolutely not the case. It's incredible. It's what Dusty and company have, Coach May and company have done. It's absolutely incredible. I've never thought of you know, a run like that being done at FAU. But you know, I got to meet Coach May, and it's fantastic person and coach, and I'm sure he's surrounded by great staff and great people, and hey, they've been great to watch. As I've been watching, you know, as much as I could, as much as the season allows. But you know, you keep, you know, tracking scores, whatever, throughout the landscape of college basketball, and you keep seeing that you know, they win and they win and they win. Like, oh, now they have the longest streak. And, oh, so now you start watching. But it's fun because obviously at the NCAA tournament, you know, I will probably deny that I say it, but you know, you're in your game, you're playing. I don't know who it was, and you hear during a timeout, you hear the whole crowd roar, or just like, so you know, you kind of like take a look, obviously, like see this you know, in the jumbotron, see what's going on, and it was repeatedly, it was pretty much every round or whatever, or you know, it happened a couple of times where it was FAU winning their game. So wow, like they're actually going to pull it off. And then you see, you know, you're more familiar, because I didn't know any of the players currently in the team. It's not, well, these guys are good. Like they're going to do it. They're going to do it. And I thought they're going to get to the championship game. It was remarkable.
Absolutely. Okay, so focusing on you guys and where you're at now at Gonzaga. So what, you know, like you said, I like how you put it. You got rescued, you got saved. Gonzaga is a pretty great place to be scooped up by. Obviously, what led to that relationship to Gonzaga? Did you already know Coach Few, or was there something? Was there a middleman connection there, or what was that process like?
No, it was actually more Tommy Lloyd, recruiting internationally, that I got to. I met a few times while I was at FAU. I don't know what countries they were, but I mean a few times with doing FIBA events. Just, the pool of coaches there. Now it's huge, but it used to be a little smaller. So
Smaller circle.
yeah. So the 10, 12 teams that would always be there. You always see each other in those events. But no, it was just a matter of I don't know. I hate to say, but just a lot of luck. But essentially the process when the usual, we get fired, so just trying to see what's around. I knew personally nothing wrong against it, but personally for my wife, we didn't have kids at the time, but we didn't want to necessarily move around. So I wanted to just get better and see what good step I could make. That didn't mean a job. It mean how can I get better? How can I get surrounded by better coaches, better people, better programs? It's out of a movie, but I sat down with a piece of paper. So, all right, who do I what's my what schools I would love to work on? No, work, be around, study, all that. So number one was Gonzaga. That was my. So I write Gonzaga. Do I know anybody? Yes. Okay. Call them. And I called, and I never got to number two. So on the list. So it's pretty. I mean, it's pretty. And things worked out, and came here with no expectations. But at the same time, they took care of me, and what was a little bit of an impasse, what was a little bit of I don't know, gap year, was going to be like a gap year, or was going to be some sort of a let's study and let's just get better as coach. It just hit the ground running, and I was lucky again that places like Gonzaga, the turnover is not high at all. Well, the following year, off season, 2 guys left the staff, so that allowed the possibility for me to get a job here.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's awesome. So everybody knows in college basketball, everybody knows you guys, Gonzaga, one of the premier programs in the country. Since you've spent time there now, what is it? And I'm sure there's a plethora of things, but if you could pick a couple things that makes Gonzaga special, like what is the secret sauce about Gonzaga basketball? What would you say?
It sounds so cliche that you're gonna be like, come on, give me another one. But it's the people. It is the people. It is the people. Anybody come to Gonzaga for a couple practices, and there is nothing special. As an outstanding, as if drills are very similar, breakdowns are very similar, 5-on-5 superiorities, they're very similar. Like at the end of the day, it's just it's the gel in between. It's not the what, is the how. But again, it's not evident on the first couple of days, or the first 3 days, or the first week, or the first. It's just that doesn't happen that way. But you don't get to feel it or see it that way that fast. But then you look around and you see AD has been here for 30 years. The previous AD has been here for 30 years. So the current AD, was 25 years as a deputy AD, whatever it was. Coach Few has been here for 30 years. Former assistants, again, decades as assistants. So it's a familiarity. It's a continuity. It's a consistency in the way things are done. Paired with the keeping an eye on what's going on in the basketball and more technical, tactical component of the game, and just adapting as needed. But at the same time, it's mostly, I think it's mostly the glue that's between the what. It's the what's going on. Locker room, what's going on. Hallway, what's going on. It's that I think. I'll give you an idea. I think it was my first my first staff at FAU. I think by year 4, I had become the third longest tenured staff member in the athletic department.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Here, this monthly staff meetings, whatever, like, every once now and then we do celebrate, who's been here for how long. And I look around, it's like it's decades all over the place. So there's might be something in the air, which whatever that is, but people stay, and a lot of people graduate from here and stayed, and families grow. And now you see one of our practices, and hey, our kids might be playing on the sideline, Coach Few, I don't know, kids have grown up shooting on side basket while practice is going on. Like things like that just don't happen that often. And it's that kind of like that looseness that just keep things. We're still competitive. We're still like results oriented. Like it's still they're still demanding, but it feels a little different than other places.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. So in your position now, director of basketball operations, people do different things at different schools with that position. Yeah. What does your day-to-day look like, or what are your major responsibilities?
Well, fundamentally, the one thing that I love the most because there's a administrative component, of course, there has to be there. But we have the luxury, we have a travel agent and business office that handles most of the team travel and stuff. Probably I just supervise those stuff. So when we're on the road, I'm the point contact for all that. But I take care of I cover analytics for us for Gonzaga. So especially in season, it essentially becomes like a scout. I help the assistant coach in charge of the scout, and it becomes a little bit of a macro game plan. If you will, which hey, it's a lot because it's every opponent. It's not divided by who's a scout coach. No, it's all of the games, and includes a lot of self scout, which sometimes teams, schools, we just don't tend to do as often. Once we gain season, we just distribute all the game scouts and we focus on the opponent. But I think from an analytical standpoint, it's also good to just to keep an eye inward and see what's going on with us. So that's a big one. And obviously during the season, that's the bulk from a basketball standpoint that I carry. I've done a couple scouts here there every season. I usually do a couple scouts, but that's more that's less significant or less. My basketball fix comes out of analytics for the most part.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Okay, one last question here, just to be respectful of your time. Yeah. And I always ask this every interview I've done so far doing this, kind of a fun one. What does your game day routine look like? Do you have any superstitions? Is there anything that's particular for you on game day?
The one thing that I can only do it at home because it's actually a two-part. But I only do it at home because of the resources that we have at home. But and you can find on the road. But there's a pickleball game going on right after pregame meal. So it's 4 of us always playing pickleball, and then getting to the cold tub and hot tub, like a contrast bath, right before I get ready for the game. So that's always some college games on. Since we're on the West Coast, usually some games on.
Yeah.
So just I think like jumping on, especially the cold tub, helps just stay present. Yeah. Nothing else going on.
Especially if you have a late tip-off going on, right? Then you got to stay awake. And
well, no, exactly. And I drink coffee, but I usually don't like overdoing it because then you get jitters during the game. So I think this has the opposite effect. Gets you awake, but just on a more calm side. And then if we were on the road, there's no cold tub. But usually, if we find one, we may do the pickleball game early in the morning before breakfast.
Yeah, that is probably the best answer I've gotten so far. Pickleball and the cold and hot tub. I love it. Well, Coach, thank you for your time. For everyone tuning in, make sure that you follow Coach on social media to keep following his journey. And then just a reminder for everybody, check out risingcoaches.com. Check it out for more networking opportunities, growing the game, growing yourself, and just finding ways to stay connected. Coach, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. That's terrific. Thank you.